Hello and welcome back to Dev Talk. Today I have special guest Kohei Tomita, an actor and friend from Japan, also known as Tommy Tarneski, which is your stage name. Tell me a little bit about coming up with that stage name.
Okay, so the story behind my stage name is that when I was in elementary school, I was writing a story. I had just watched The Bourne Ultimatum and I wanted to make something like that. And so I was coming up with the name for the main character for that movie. And that happened to be Tommy Tarneski. And so that's where it originated. And ever since then, when I started my YouTube, it's kind of tricky to come up with a username for YouTube because a lot of times, other people already have it. So I use Tarneski, and like it never fails. I mean, nobody else in the world has ever come up with Tarneski. So no matter what, so no matter what the site is, I now use Tarneski to do it. So that's how it became my stage name on YouTube.
So you're an actor, and I wanted to ask you where your passion for acting, where it originated from.
Started playing characters around 6 or 7. It was because I watched Spider-Man 2. I mean, I was, I loved it so much watching it as this like 6, 7-year-old kid, was mesmerized, and I wanted to do it. So I watched Spider-Man 2 that day. I went back home.
Yeah.
I had this Spider-Man costume for Halloween. Yeah, so
nice.
I put that on, and I got my dad to film me fighting this big stuffed animal that I had, and and I really enjoyed it. And so that's how all of this started. I just wanted to be Spider-Man, put a costume on, fought a big stuffed animal, and I enjoyed it. So I started to make movies, short films, and I started to, as the star. So yeah, that's where it originated. And so after Spider-Man 2, I watched Back to the Future for the first time, was mesmerized again. So I wrote this little script that was basically Back to the Future, just so I could, play around in that world. And I loved that. And then I watched Napoleon Dynamite, and I was mesmerized again. I wanted to be Napoleon. So I wrote myself a little script, filmed again. I watched 24. I wanted to be Jack Bauer. So I made this.
You watch a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I was very lucky to have those, to watch in my childhood. My passion for acting originated from this need to just be these fictional characters in these fictional worlds. And yeah, I think that's still what drives me today, at the very essence of all the, the techniques and, all the requirements of becoming a professional actor and all that. I just want to live as a fictional character in a fictional environment.
What is the fascination, right? Is it the fantasy of escaping away and living in other people's shoes and just living that adventure, that thrill?
I ask myself that a lot as well, and for the most part, I think it's exactly what you said. Just escaping and, just being someone completely different. I think there's another thing to it these days. I don't see it as much as being someone else, but just being able to express a different part of me through playing someone else. So usually I'm pretty contained in like normal, life, like on the job and stuff. But there's another side of me that's like super energetic, or like, usually I'm kind of like the nice guy, but there are parts of me that's kind of an asshole, right? So like through the acting, I'm being able to bring that forward is fun. So I guess it's the joy of being someone else, but also just to be able to bring out these different sides of me that I otherwise never would be able to.
And this goes into, of course, the different methods of acting. We have Stella Adler. Well, Brando is known for being the actor who invented the modern method acting per se. Like he really revolutionized the scene by living the lifestyle of his character to understand all aspects of the character's life and to feel the same emotions that the character is feeling. And some actors go by the method of going back in your memory bank, finding the right emotion through your memories, and that helps convey what the character is feeling. Did you by any chance watch the show The Kominsky Method on Netflix?
Oh yeah, just the first episode though.
I do recommend it because there is certain scenes with Michael Douglas's acting class that are really inspirational. There's a certain moment when he's having a one-to-one with one of the actors being a bit troublesome, and the actor starts saying her truth, and she's saying it to him, and then suddenly Michael says, "No, no, no, don't say it to me. Say it to them. Like use this and say it to them." Do you ever act on stage?
Oh, not on stage, not yet.
Not yet. Is that something you want to do one day?
Yeah, I hope so. Doing scenes in an acting workshop really inspires me to go on stage. It feels really like a liberating place to act.
Yeah, tell me about the acting workshop.
Yeah, so I've been going in and out of acting workshops for about 7 to 8 years now. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so basically, in terms of methods, uh, I've experienced about two so far, I think. One is Eric Morris, and the other is Meisner. I'm most experienced with Meisner. Yeah, the first couple of acting workshops I went to was the more personal approach that you just talked about. It really was about going back, well, to the past or um, using personal experiences and memories to bring up emotions. So the first acting exercise I ever did was Imaginary Monologue by Eric Morris. And just for people who don't know about this exercise, it's this exercise where you imagine someone in your personal life in front of you and you say stuff that you normally wouldn't be able to tell them. And obviously, that stirs up a lot of emotion, contained, suppressed emotion. And the idea is to use that in the scene you're about to do. So I did a lot of that um, at first, but it
Mm.
honestly didn't work too well for me because the problem for me was that I would imagine someone, I get like really angry, but then I'd go do the scene with my partner. I look at the partner and I
Yes.
wouldn't feel the same anger because the anger is not towards them. It's towards the person I was imagining. So like, that really didn't work well for me. I still don't understand how I would be able to do that, honestly.
Was it perhaps too personal, right? Too close to home?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That's probably why. Since it was so personal, I couldn't connect it to my partner. And now I realize that's more important when you're doing a scene. So I stopped with that workshop and I went on to Meisner. And so I did the famous repetition exercise.
How was that?
Yeah, that was it's fun. It was fun at first, but the point is to observe your partner and to react, and to just keep
Mm.
doing that. Stirs up like emotion, like impulse. You just let it drive you, and then you do that to each other, and then it creates something. And when it happened, it's pretty amazing. I've seen some pretty amazing repetitions in workshops, but again, it didn't quite work for me. It started to become a lot about getting emotion out. So
Mm.
so I went to a couple of Meisner workshops, but the one I went to the most, um, the so when I was doing the repetition in front of all the other students, the coach would be like, he would kind of yell at you, to like, more, bring out more. It was hard to bring anything out when someone was yelling at you, and also just um I did so much of that, and I tried to force myself to like bring out emotion so much that like I started to forget what acting was about. Like, it didn't really
Hmm.
feel like acting anymore because the acting, I really don't think it's about bringing emotion out. Just like Meisner said, it's living truthfully under imaginary
Hmm.
circumstances. So it's not really about bringing emotion out. That's what you use. That's the tool you use, like to
Oh,
act.
that's very interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
But I remember I saw some of Michael Caine's acting masterclass where it's like, in theater, you have to really talk to them and make big expressions. In film, you do less. And you look closely at your actor. Take one of the eyes and focus, because you will focus on your eye. And that's a very good point to use because I've seen myself on camera many times throughout my years of being a filmmaker, and I notice my eyes darting back and forth because we do that. We tend to do that as humans, just looking around a little bit. But when you do so in film, it's a bit of a distraction because we humans are looking at our eyes. But if the character's eyes are darting back and forth, if there's no reason for it, that is, if you're supposed to be concentrated in the scene, then that becomes a bit about, oh, what is he doing with his eyes? It's going a little bit too much back and forth. So I've learned myself through watching the tapes, again, the takes that I do, to focus your eyes in a place and keep them there, and let the and let the scene continue. Don't worry about where you're keep your eye line. Have you experienced any difficulties like this? Because I felt that so many times.
Pretty recently, I think, about a couple months ago when I was making a video by myself. Yeah, I would rewatch my takes and I would look left for no reason. I'd be like, why are you looking left? I mean, like it was so focused. My eye line was like so focused, but I just look here for like a second and it just destroys everything. And so like I had to redo that and like really focus again on my eye line even more. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it took a long time to feel comfortable even doing acting. I was always that guy who wanted to have a mask and wanted to play the creature, the monster, something that could hide me away fully. I didn't want to be seen on camera. You were already very comfortable at a young age to perform in front of the camera, and how was it like creating your own films? What inspired you to write?
When I was young, so like 6 or like around 6, middle school, high school, back then it was about, yeah, just creating my world, and the best way to do that was for me to just, literally write it out. But more recently, the reason I write now, it's basically to bring out things inside of me that I would otherwise never be able to. Like even in the acting, because I don't have a lot of resources available at the moment, so it's very hard to do everything I want to do through acting. If I wanted to be in like a noir film, if I wanted to like, kick ass or something, I wouldn't be able to do that by myself. That'll be very, very hard to do. But in writing, I mean, I just have to put words on paper. I just gotta write, yeah, like I don't know, alleyway, Detroit, and then I read those words in my head. It already generates images that I want. I write to, yeah, just do things that I would never be able to do, and also I guess to bring to life the images that are in my head.
Yeah, I like that. I relate to that. Where do ideas stem from? When do you find your ideas?
It's all about desires for me. I think my desires, my inner needs. I think that's where all the creative stuff comes from for me. So usually I talked about feeling suppressed in my normal like day to day. I once wrote something about my boss at work. Um,
Mm.
I felt suppressed, and I wanted to give him a piece of my mind. So I tapped into that, and I started writing, and then like things just really started to unfold, and this whole fictional world was created, like just like that. And it was basically just for myself, honestly. But yeah, in terms of inspiration, that's basically it. Like something that's frustrating me, someone that I want to give a piece of my mind to. I put pen to paper, and then something is created. And if I were to put it out, all I got to do is structure that in a way that's not so like self-centered. Just to structure it, restructure it in a way that's conveying some kind of point that's more digestible to people. So yeah, so in terms of inspiration, like desires, needs that I have.
What I've always admired about your films is that they're so thought provoking, and you, with few words, with minimalism, you create an impact that stays with you. And you have this patience with your shots where you just let the camera stay on something. Your emotions sink in with the character you see on screen.
No, it's kind of interesting because it doesn't really feel like I'm picking the story, um, especially the films that I have out on YouTube. I think like the ones that you talked about, the one with the silence, like silenced warmth, deception of the rut, the one that I really, really minimal in the dialogue. Like silence is the warmth, like literally has like no dialogue basically. I pick the fact that I want to have on the audience, like the big idea that I wanna do in the film, and then I would just think about um, what would be the best way to do it with what I have at the moment, and then naturally those stories, those moments kind of come to me. It usually starts with an image. It just kind of structures itself into this one narrative, and that's doable for me.
I get that, but what an amazing answer. Because there's a lot of it that I can understand, like very on a deep level, where I go, that's true. Sometimes it is an idea that just comes from an image, from this fantasy, the abstract forms an idea. And sometimes it's based on logic, sometimes it's based on character, sometimes it's based on a motivation. There are times you cannot explain as to what logically inspired the idea, just the feeling, just the emotion, just the effect of something. And we need to express out what's going on in our feelings. And you talked about suppressing away because we have to fit a mold, we have to remain patient, we can't let our creativity unfold in our civil jobs, in our mundane lives, in our day-to-day routines. And that's tough for so many people who are naturally so creative, who need to have an outlet for this. So I'm happy that you have found acting to be a fantastic method for you, because it's a passion. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel better of who you are and what you're doing in life. And I get that. And I never myself wanted to be an actor. I never understood how to even do that. But I understood my characters. I understood what made them tick, what made them do things. So when I was forced to step in front of the camera, it was a moment of fear because I was thinking about what others were thinking of me, of what I was doing. We're always fearful of embarrassment and doing things that, well, put you in the spotlight in that bad way. Everyone's making fun of you. But it took me so many years to get to the point of realizing that I have to eradicate this part that's me being self-conscious about every little move, every little choice I make. Be free. Don't think about those things. Don't think about what they're thinking about you, because that's when you're gonna stand wrong, you're gonna stand stale, you're gonna look stale, and say things in a way where he's just waiting to say his line. And that's one of those things that I learned by also the experience of having to do it. The fact that you have to listen to the other characters, the other actors. You have to listen because it's true. I think Michael Caine said this too. If it looks like you're just waiting for your line, you'll see in your face he's not listening. You're not in the moment, and that is such a great point. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of this whole thing. I don't consider myself by any means any kind of professional actor because I've never been to theater. None of that. I've just had to like on the fly learn things.
Yeah, what you just talked about, I still struggle with myself. I think, especially being self conscious. It's like when I used to go to acting workshops with a lot of people in it. I was very self conscious too. This is a really famous thing in acting, I think. Which is like set an objective. And so it's like lately that's my go to thing. Like, what am I doing in the scene, and like just really go after that. You don't really care about everything else. You're so focused. And the beauty of doing a scene is that there's always going to be an obstacle. And that obstacle is pretty tough to overcome. I mean, you get so focused and you got to use so much energy to overcome that obstacle. Like everything else is like, like whatever. You no longer have the headspace to think about it. So
Some people don't need this overly specific direction, and some people just need the motivational direction. I've been on a set where a director has told an actor to walk out a certain way and use a certain hand and pick up a certain thing, and that made the actor think about those movements in a robotic way, and it did not come out naturally. So it's all a matter of who you're speaking to and how you speak to the person. And this is what you learn on a set. The first day is always going to be a nervous day where let's find a footing, let's find the feeling, the tone, and what this team is, what this movie is. And then eventually you learn to speak slower and calmer, and then sometimes go up because some actors take the energy from you as you're directing them. And some don't need that. Some just need, what am I doing in this scene? That's it. In your workshop, how is it like with directing? Who is staging the scenes with you?
right now I'm going to like a personal. I'm attending personal lessons, and my coach. We do a lot of scene work together, and the first time I do a scene, my coach lets me just play it out. But then, after the first time, she would give me notes or directions, specific actions to do.
Well, Kohei, do you have any acting idols, any acting inspirations that you look to?
I think it changes from time to time. But like obviously, people like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, like obviously, I do.
The big classics.
Yeah, the classics. They're like, they're so good. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Fassbender. Yeah, he's wonderful. Yeah, some Japanese ones. I love. Do you know Yakusho Koji? He was in Perfect Days.
Perfect Day. I know this movie. It came out a couple of years ago, right? And it's this guy who is a bathroom cleaner.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly, exactly.
I gotta see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it.
Oh, it's fantastic. And Yakusho Koji is the guy in the lead role, and he's like this legend in Japan. He's like Robert De Niro of Japan. So I really look up to him. Yeah, and he's amazing in Perfect Days, and it's an amazing film. I've seen it many times. So yeah, I take from him. I love Korean movies as well. So I take some from Korean actors as well. Lead actor from Parasite, Song Gang Ho. Lead actor from, yeah, he's excellent. Lee Jong-jae from Squid Game. I love him. Yeah, yeah. I've known him before Squid Game, and so I was very happy to see him get so much international recognition. So
It makes sense because I also, thanks to international films, is how I learned so many of the Korean, Japanese, Chinese talents. I mean, it's thanks to that. I mean, how where else would I have known about Chow Yun-fat or Tony Leung or Toshiro Maifune? Ringo Kikuchi, there's so many. I'm probably butchering a lot of their names. Sorry about that. We talked about Shogun the other day, right? Hiroko Sanada, Tadanobu Asano, like these for me also legends who I also look to because they can convey the world weariness on their shoulders so well that I truly believe that they have been able to climb their way out of something or march through a whole field just by the way they convey themselves in movement and yeah, physicality and the depth in their eyes. It's amazing. Look at that person being able to blend in to this world, this environment so well. But then sometimes there is a value and beauty in the theatrical Shakespearean acting that can't be denied. That's also a style, that's also an expression. Being overly stylistic, being overly phonetic. Those people take these words that are on the page and make it something unique, make it their own. And that's super fun to see too. Look at Nicolas Cage, like he's using the style of silent film acting still to this day, but with, of course, verbal ways of expressing too. Go and pick from so many different people, depending on the mood of the project that you're working on. As in, this person inspires me right now. But one of the best examples that I saw of an actor just completely making me forget they were acting was when I saw this movie called Wasp Network that's on Netflix. So there's a scene towards the third act where Penelope Cruz, she has to say goodbye to her baby, her child. She goes to her grandparents and leaves the baby there. And I've seen her in so many movies, but the way she says goodbye to this baby, it's like I'm not watching someone act. I'm watching an actual parent take this moment in of saying, I love you, goodbye, you're gonna stay with your grandparents. And there's something about it that it feels so genuine, it feels so warm, and it's so real. And like it's her real child. It's life. It's no longer theatrical, it's no longer acting to me, it's actual real life. And just the Latin way of doing it, because of course part of my family, so I've seen these moments myself. Regardless how many times you've seen someone, and still you're able to believe the different performance. And that's to me one of the big praises I can give. Or like, yeah, I'm forgetting this as a character, I'm forgetting that I even know you from so many other movies. Wow. But Koei, are you working on something at the moment?
At the moment, yeah. Well, I guess I am planning to do something. Like acting wise, I still want to continue with those small scenes, short scenes that I've been posting on LIF recently.
Yes.
Yeah, and also, I was just thinking about this. I have this huge love for noirs, like especially
Mm.
revenge noirs. I love the genre so much. I've seen so many of them, and like there's this thing inside me. There's this need inside me that like I want to contribute to the genre. Like I don't feel this for any other genre, to be honest. Just revenge noirs. Like I wanna make something that might actually contribute to it. You know, like the Kohei Tomita version of revenge noir. I want to make it so bad, and I've always wanted to. So yeah, that's like the
I want to see
big
that.
pro.
I need to see this. I love noir too. I love it.
Oh, nice, nice.
Are you thinking more neo noir or classic noir, black and white? What kind of style are you going for?
Like more recent ones. I'm going for like Korean noirs and some. I don't know if you've seen, but there's some like bloody, like Japanese animations. Some are pretty dark, bloody.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, have you seen it? Have you seen some?
I've seen. I mean, I'm thinking about some stuff I've seen, but also I think the noir influence is pretty strong with a lot of Japanese anime. Even Miyazaki can take the imagery from the classic noirs into his characters. A character like Porco Rosso has his moments of being noir in the bar and the cafe with the cigar and the jazz music, right? That's straight out of a noir story, and just the way he has his hat and everything and the coat. I mean, that's a noir character right there, but in a very pleasant Miyazaki film.
Ah, right, right, right.
Cowboy Bebop, of course, has a lot of noir elements, although it's a show that really blends a lot of genres. But I think the biggest genre aside from sci-fi is noir.
I like those ones as well. So it's gonna what I'm thinking is a blend of kind of those, the kind of violence atmosphere that you see in those kind of Japanese anime, like noir influenced. The emotional intensity of Korean noirs is like it's. I mean, I watch those and I think, man, like, did these people make this for me? I mean, it fits so well.
That's a fun feeling.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like the director gets you. It feels like the director really gets you.
I will link your channel here in the description below so you can check out Kohei's work and his short films, his videos. I want to ask you, what's the biggest lesson you have learned through your acting workshop that has impacted the way you view acting?
That's a good one. Something my coach told me a couple months back, and it's really simple. It's not even like an acting thing, to be honest. Um, and it's that the problem that I have, it's it's insecurity. Like what's preventing me from really getting into a scene, performing, whatever it is. It's insecurity, actually. It's not even a skill or experience thing. It's just insecurity. It changed how I view acting. So before I started working with my current coach, when I was doing like Meisner, I thought I looked at it so technically. Like it felt like, yeah, I needed to, all the technical requirements. After a year with my current coach, yeah, of course there's technicalities and there's, the whole objective thing and, ways of thinking and all that. But honestly, it's actually just standing in front of people and just like doing you, just being authentic, put your insecurities, aside for a second and just do things. And then, things do happen. I've never seen acting as something so liberating. It felt so restrictive until then. I got very frustrated and tired and, like, why am I even doing this at times? Because it got so tough on me mentally. Sometimes insecurity is the only reason why you're not doing anything. So yeah, that's my biggest takeaway, and it's surprising. I mean, because this isn't even an acting thing; it's a life thing. I mean, you could apply it to everything. Insecurity takes everything away from us. Like in no matter what we're doing. So
Such an important point to take with you, to not hold back on that. Overcome your fears. And it's a thing that we're all working on. And I'm happy that you have been able to understand more about yourself and that you continue to be brave because some talk about acting as being an egotistical thing, that there's an ego behind it. And I haven't found that myself. I do understand some people wanting to be in the spotlight, limelight for those kinds of reasons, but if you're an observer of humans, human behavior, and emotions and feelings, and you're, well, a spokesperson for this story and this character, I mean, you're chosen or you have to do it because of happenstance. I don't think it's about ego, it's about telling the story and being brave enough to feel free to do it. So it's not about necessarily doing it for yourself, but you're also entertaining and you're lending this story away to someone else now because it's only through your voice right now and it'll inspire someone else today and tomorrow to pick up on and to maybe retell or to continue learning from what this story is. But that's my takeaway sometimes about this whole thing. What do you think?
yeah, and I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, the whole ego thing is like it's so weird because when you see acting for what it is, and I mean, really, well, if you're like starring in a film, you are in the spotlight. But when you think about it, you're not really. I mean, you're not even the one who made the film. I mean, you're in the film, but the one who made it like is the writer, is the director. So you just like one part of this huge thing. So it's very weird. I mean, even if I was starring in a film, I probably wouldn't, be all ego. I would be very humbled and grateful. But I don't. I mean, having written myself, I don't get how someone could star in a film and go, this is my film, because it's not. You didn't even create the world. I mean, the director and writer. Well, the director is letting you like play in this world that they created. Yeah, and people have made sets for you, and someone has set a camera for you, and it's like, how could you think this is yours? It's not. I mean, you're in a very lucky place, to be honest. So understanding that it's impossible, I think, to make it an ego thing. They probably make it just because they want to. They want to feel special.
Fantastic story. And what a fantastic time talking to you, Kohei. I can't wait to see what you're working on next and read your story and to work more in the future. Kohei has done some voiceover roles in our movies, and you have an appearance in the mockumentary project A One Crow World.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to see you soon on the next Dep Talk video. Show some class and give a like to Kohei, alright? Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.